Oh, well, let's talk about Meghan Markle's new podcast episode. I know you've been waiting with bated breath about who her celebrity guest, who her A-list big guest she's going to get on this week's Confessions of a Female Founder. And will you be shocked to know?
She called herself a founder, a visionary, a change maker. But journalist Maureen Callehan has a very different label for Meghan Markle: phony. In her latest column, Callehan doesn't just throw shade, she practically brings a total eclipse, tearing apart Meghan's so-called business empire and calling it what she sees: a hollow PR machine wrapped in woke buzzwords and celebrity glitz.
That it's Clever Brands co-founder Hannah Mendoza, Clever Brands, Meghan Markle's first investment that we really found out about because she sent a basket to Oprah Winfrey. Oprah actually announced it because she's like, look what Meghan sent me. And we realized that Meghan was somehow financially attached. She also is attached to Highbrow Hippie, who was her last guest. I'm just like, this pyramid of Meghan promoting things she's investing in, click the affiliate link to the thing I'm invested in. She just is, to me, it's just like a breeding ground for greed.
This is so interesting. Okay, number one, I've never heard of the woman that you just mentioned. I've never heard of the Clever company, which you've just mentioned. Ironic name. Meghan is anything but clever. And, to your note about like investing financially in these companies, this is also Meghan just buying friends. She's
Yeah.
just buying friends. I would bet she slipped Gwyneth a couple of mil, to get that little Instagram hit the other week.
I've actually thought about this. I think that that was a really nice thing of Gwyneth Paltrow to do, who also had just said in, I think, Vanity Fair or one of the big fashion magazines that she had no issue with Meghan Markle. I barely know her. She was like, I don't know her.
But that's a shiv, Kinsey. That's a
well,
shiv.
well, I thought that like it was her being nice was like the doing the Instagram thing. But I don't think that she would risk, because she's been doing podcasts. She just did Aaron Foster's podcast.
Mhm.
So Gwyneth is doing other people's podcasts, but I don't think she'd risk doing Meghan's because I don't think she wants all the negative backlash that would come from doing Meghan's. I think she recognizes that she is a toxic character. The Instagram moment was so brief. It was kind of trolling the media, but it was, and she didn't put it on her I don't think she put it on her feed. I think it was a story, right? It
I
was an
think you're right.
Instagram.
So it vanished.
Yeah, so it vanished. People couldn't reply. That was a very controlled PR stunt. I don't think she would do something that would sear her to Meghan Markle in any way, shape, or form, like an hour-long podcast episode.
Oh, never, never, never. You can say many things about Gwyneth Paltrow, but one thing you cannot say is that she's not bright.
Yeah.
She has a native intelligence and she knows what she's doing. And I think it was brilliant on her part to do this kind of Instagram troll, to have it be like Meghan had no lines, kept her mouth shut. The best version of Meghan Markle that we could possibly hope for: keep your mouth shut. And that was it. And then it vanished. And, Gwyneth, I believe also last summer, there was that big female founders summit in the Hamptons.
Mhm.
And Gwyneth was sure not to take a photo with Meghan, which Meghan was gagging for.
Yes.
Gagging.
Let's break it down. Callahan points to archetypes. Meghan's big podcast deal with Spotify dropped faster than you can say empowerment. Then there's the Netflix partnership. Remember that?
As she sat next to Jamie Kern Lima as they plotted their big two for podcasts a year ago. Oh, wow. How
Was it
exciting.
you who told me this, or somebody who said, like, so first of all, Jamie Kern Lima does not have that many subscribers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She's got like maybe 66, and she's been pounding this drum with the likes of, her super famous neighbors like Oprah
Yeah.
and whoever else has done her show, like Hoda,
Coda.
people who
Yeah.
traffic in this garbage, like, oh, we're self-actualizing. And like, I think Hoda's literally like, when I connect with Jamie Lynn, it's like she's helping me enter another realm of the cosmos. Like, take me out back and shoot me. Okay. Just end my agony now. So she's got like 66K subscribers, something like that. But someone told me that in the wake of the Meghan Markle interview, like she's been shedding eyeballs and like people are like unfollowing, they are unsubscribing. And this really, people say like humanity's like, circle. This gives me hope.
Yeah, I believe that because um, I think that I saw a lot of the comments where I'm disappointed in you. It just is totally, it totally contradicts this world that they like with Mel. I've heard you talk about Mel too. Let them. It contradicts their whole vibe. Their whole vibe is, I'm going to get through it. Let's just push through it. And Meghan Markle and Harry's vibe is, I'm going to stew in it. I'm going to do an interview with the BBC and talk about a decision I made in 2020. So it just, to listen to it, it's like Meghan's trying to pretend like she's caught up with all of these vibe chasers. And Harry goes and contradicts it with that interview. But before we move on to Harry, I did grab some quotes. First of all, just to give you an update, because I know it's killing you, we did get some details about Meghan Markle's pregnancy with Archie and Lily, her diet while she was pregnant with them. So I know you're thrilled about that.
Mm.
We can't live without details about Meghan Markle's health and what she did to improve her health while knocked up. But she said to Hannah, some days are going to be harder to show up as your best and shiniest self. To which I would ask you, do you think this is the bully admission? That some days I'm not my shiniest self, some days I'm a jerk.
Ooh, I like that theory. I like that
You
theory.
know
Oh,
that that's not
and
what she was saying.
no, I like that theory. And also layered into that is like, how can you blame a pregnant woman whose hormones are running riot if I lost my temper and I wasn't like my best self? You
Well,
know,
the
she's,
the pregnancy thing is coming out of the idea that since you have not heard of Clever Brands, and I envy it, it's mushroom based. It's like mushroom coffee. So she's talking about how when she was pregnant, there was a lot of mushroom stuff that went into her diet for her health. I don't know. And she's saying it's not just hippie stuff. And they're trying to justify the existence of this coffee. But she's talking about leadership here. This is unrelated to being knocked up twice. This is about how some you have to show up. Your employees don't deserve that. And the reality is, it's Meghan trying, in classic Meghan form, trying to tear down the bully headlines by going off on this tangent about how even on your worst days you have to show up for your employees. And you and I both know that's
Content's drying up, and the hits just aren't coming. And now Meghan's female founder narrative, built more on brand deals and partnerships than any real innovation. As Callahan puts it, she's not a founder, she's a faker.
well, Kinsey, okay, so if you are running anything, be it a household and by the way, like, who is this podcast really for? How many women out there are like, I'm going to befriend some billionaires, buy my way into their social circles, maybe marry a beta royal, and found my own businesses? Like, I was thinking about this yesterday, like Confessions of a Female Founder. And as she's explaining the premise of the show, I'm like, who gives a flying F? Like, how many people are out there with the resources and the time and everything you need to found a company? Like the amount of things that compete for our limited free time and attention, that is not on my list.
yeah.
It's not even as a hate listen. And then she to traffic in the most basic bits of factual data that she presents as eureka moments unique to her, right? Meghan's IP, her intellectual property. When you're running something, you got to show up for your employees. You don't say.
Well, listen to this because this is just annoying to me. From Netflix coming on as her business partner to her first round of products quickly selling out, Markle called these moments proof points. She explained, that told me that customers, people, believed in me and this vision. That's all you really want as a founder. Please, please react to that. P.S. I meant to look to see if any of her stuff was on eBay. So react to that while I do that
Oh,
live.
okay, great. She'll soon be selling her underwear on Poshmark, I'm sure. Okay, so proof points. This is a new piece of corporate jargon, garbage language I've never heard of.
Yeah.
And I love it when these like newfound entrepreneurs who didn't go to business school or, whatever, work in corporate America start throwing around these words that like fintech bros use, because like they're trying to prove they're smart.
She keeps saying skews. Have you noticed how she keeps saying skews in
Oh, she
interviews?
loves skews. Defy her to spell skew. Because if you've worked retail, you know exactly how that's spelled, as I did as a teenager. I know exactly what a skew is. I think she just discovered what a skew is. Because I think, were you and I discussing this? Like somebody was saying to me that Meghan Markle doesn't buy those expensive clothes that she's always packed in.
Mm.
Like that $995 Max Mara coat that she wears in the incorrect season,
Yeah.
wool cashmere blend, and she wears it in like spring, summer in Montecito. She's being loaned that. And that's why she walks around in it in the incorrect weather, because that's her only moment to get packed in it and prove what an avatar, an ambassador of quiet luxury she is. When, I live in a nice part of Long Island, and when I see a guy get out of like a vintage car, it could be a classic restored to perfection, it could be a beater, and he's got like hair past his shoulders and he's in like ripped cutoffs and like a grubby t-shirt. I always go, that guy's probably a billionaire.
Oh, 100%. I see those guys at Starbucks at 11:30 a.m. here in LA. I'm like, that guy has a lot of money. He looks disheveled and he's wealthy.
That's the flex. That's the flex. But Megan doesn't understand the nonverbal communications of the cohort to which she is dying to be, embraced by. Hence all these epic fails. Hence the like cooking in the kitchen that's not her kitchen. I don't think she didn't want to shoot the Netflix show in her kitchen because it's so sacred and private that she couldn't bear to have a Netflix crew in there. I think it's because if you look at the trailer she dropped last year, right around the time Princess Catherine had to announce her cancer, it's a very dated kitchen. I mean, it screams 1990s beige upon taupe upon ivory upon, that kind of marble that like feels like almost like a cross between Mexican, French, country farm. It's like very dated. It's a gut job.
Dude,
And I think her ego couldn't take it.
somebody said that it looked like an Olive Garden.
Perfection. Perfection.
That one line, it's all over the internet, and royal watchers aren't holding back. Let's talk about her latest venture, a lifestyle brand selling wellness, healing, and manifestation.
I love Olive Garden, but
Hey, no slam against Olive Garden, but that's not what Ms. Markle is going for.
exactly.
Sorry, Ms. Sussex, the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Sussex.
Thank you. Yeah, so I just think when you ask who is this podcast for, that last line where she's gloating. By the way, no as ever on eBay, which to me is always like the test. If people aren't throwing your stuff on eBay and jacking it up, how was it really that successful?
Kinsey, can I just say, do you remember like 6, 8, 9 months ago, the item to get that was going on eBay for hundreds of dollars was the Trader Joe's tote bag?
Yes.
50 cents to make landed. Okay, I'm going to talk Shark Tank language, right? Because I'm an entrepreneur now, like Megan. That was like a must-have item. You're so right. Like not a bit of packaging is floating around eBay. It is not wanted.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to admit that I bought the Olivia Rodrigo. What are those damn Stanley Cups? Okay. I don't want to talk about what I paid for the Olivia Rodrigo Stanley Cup, but yes,
I love Olivia Rodrigo.
I do too. She's such a little badass. So yes, that's interesting that not even the packaging that she talks about that kept her up at night, that haunted her in her sleep. This podcast is for her. It's just for her to gloat and to try to rebrand herself for the 6,000th time. Can we please talk about this story? We talked about it with Pierce for a few minutes. He really felt like that picture of Meghan that Meghan posted, terribly pixelated, black and white filter of Lily on Harry's shoulders and Archie holding his hand, walking off into the garden, was this middle finger to the royal family. What is your reaction to that? It's sometimes I'm just like, could you just sit this one out? You were totally quiet during the Senabale chaos, but when it comes to the royal family, you've got to stick your stupid freaking nose in it.
Of course she does. Again, I think I think she should launch a podcast and I've always said she should just lean into being a bitch.
Yeah.
I think she should launch a podcast about how to successfully sever all familial ties and keep them that way. So that even when your husband is longing to, and this BBC interview is like the mind F of all mind Fs, but when your husband is longing to reconcile with his father who has cancer and whose prognosis is, in question, um, be sure to lob a nonverbal message on Instagram by showing your husband walking away back to the camera with these two small children of yours, grandchildren that the king has zero relationship with. He's in the fight of his life. What better time to lob an F you,
Yeah.
And then she wonders why, like, her ventures fail.
Yeah.
People don't like you. People are coming to loathe you with great reason.
Yeah. It's to me, it was so unnecessary because she hasn't stood up for him in some of I'm telling you the Senabali thing was devastating for him because this woman, they couldn't argue it. But Dr. Sophie Shandaka, her resume, her the reputation she has, he just could not dismiss her claims in the way that they have dismissed other people's claims. And I think that that's why the way they, or that's one of the reasons why they were so quiet. So to see her insert herself in this when she's not speaking to her own father, she's done the exact same thing to her own father, cut him off. I want to say, Meghan, like this is why they didn't want you by the Queen's bedside when she was passing away. This is why they didn't want you.
Sound familiar? Callahan calls it a knockoff of Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop, just reskinned for Instagram. Overpriced jam, chakra teas, even dog treats, sold as some kind of revolutionary feminist hustle.
You insert yourself where you don't belong. And there's this real argument about how Meghan Markle, it's wrong for us to say Meghan Markle doesn't know her place, but she bulldozed her way in there. Catherine dated Prince William on and off for a decade and gently she earned their trust. And Meghan just sharp elbows and all was like, you're going to respect me. Remember, before she was even engaged to Prince Harry, she told one of his employees, I'm probably going to be your boss one day. I mean, this is why they just can't stand her. It's common sense to me. I don't understand why the word assertive is too gentle of a word to use when it comes to her behavior towards this family.
So, okay, I have many thoughts on this, but to circle back for 1 second to Dr. Sophie Chandaka and how Meghan and Harry were rendered mute because of her education, her reputation. Don't forget pigmentation.
Yeah,
So
very
now
true.
there's a lot of rage that has no place to go. So they have to find a place to put it because they're always trying to like sort of exercise their rage, which is an ever renewing supply. So
Mm-hmm.
what better place than King Charles, right? Now, the thing that to me, in my estimation, moves Meghan from a malcontent to a disruptor to what I perceive as evil. Like I'm just going to say it. I think she's evil, and I think Harry's, he's tied his yoke to this one, and so he's allowing it or he's participating. So he gets that branding as well, in my estimation. Just my opinion. When Prince Philip, a 99-year-old Prince Philip, was on his deathbed, what did they do? Oprah racism claims. When Queen Elizabeth was dying of bone cancer, like an agonizing way to go. And she's still showing up every day doing her job. She was photographed with the new prime minister like a day or two before she died.
Yeah.
What did these two do? Harry announces he's publishing a tell-all memoir and Meghan gives as I just columned on this for the Mail, she gives a rage-filled interview to The Cut in
Yeah.
which she says she's going to do what she wants and
She
nobody can
didn't sign
shut
an
her up.
NDA. She didn't sign an NDA.
Yeah, so guess what, you guys? You have no idea what I'm going to pull out of my pocket next. Now that King Charles is in the fight of his life, what are they doing? They're doing it all over again. They're
Mm-hmm.
making the remaining days of someone who has spent their life in public service and who asks for one thing in return, and that is a modicum of personal privacy. Not happening.
No, no. And Harry says in that BBC interview that he's lived a life, 35 years of service. You're 40 years old. Like, what were you? What math did they teach you at Eton? And then says he continues to live a life of service. And I'm like, You wrote a book about your frozen wiener. Like, that
Mhm.
is not how I would define a life of service. In this Rebecca English piece in the Daily Mail, where they talk about the courtier saying that that picture was an FU, I love this quote. For Meghan, the loss of status, they're saying this is what this is all about. The
Mhm.
loss of status is a much more significant issue, another remarks, probably because it is so very much tied up in her money-making schemes. So the alternative is Prince Harry is utterly obsessed with the idea of airing his truth. But for Meghan, it's about status. I think it's about status for a little bit for the both of them too, because Prince Harry wants what his brother has.
Callahan says it's all aesthetic marketing, zero authenticity. Here's the real question. Is Meghan Markle actually building something, or just selling us another fairy tale in cashmere? Callahan argues it's all about victimhood, not value. A brand built on buzzwords, not breakthroughs. So what do you think? Is Meghan Markle a real entrepreneur, or just a royal grifter with a killer PR team? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more hard-hitting royal commentary. Because behind all the glamorous headlines, there's always another story waiting to be told. After all, it's not founding a company if the only thing you've created is chaos.